Okay. So go ahead and just drop in the comments how you are doing. Couple words that describes you. Okay. So we have ready for growth. Yay. That's exciting. Motivated, happy, positive. I love that, Melissa. Melissa had a baller month in August. Good job, Melissa. Way to show up, babe. I'm so proud of you. She enrolled 7, you guys. Woohoo! It's awesome. And Melissa's been doing the business for almost 2 years, right, Melissa? A little bit shy of 2 years. And that is proof that even 2 years in, there are 7 people a month still waiting for you. So if you have in your mind like that there's not enough people for, to have a big month, there are. We just have to change and tweak things. And I love that Melissa's been really consistent lately with Reels. I've talked about this, and I feel like Reels is just like, it's really catchy because it's short and people's attention span is short, right? And so it's like they want to scroll past reading long things and stuff like that. But if you can catch their attention with something like catchy and music and fun and different like pops of words and things like that, it really does grab their attention. And so if you haven't experimented with Reels yet, you should do it. She is baller. Isn't that a good word? I haven't said that in a long time. Baller. Much better. Yay, Teresa. I'm so glad you're doing better. And Teresa's sister is coming to Bear Lake. I'm super excited to meet her. Moving forward, love it. So, I love these words and I love the positivity, and I want you guys to unmute yourself a lot tonight and share thoughts and comments. If you have something that comes up, please pitch in your thoughts. But I have really been thinking a lot about like protocols and having systems in play, because, and I talked about this a little bit last week too, but I just feel like we need to talk about this more, because the number one thing that I hear from moms about doing the business, and this is like not even just my team, this is like other moms that are in other business, like other parts of Plexus, right? And on calls that like on life coaching calls and all the different things that I get on, is that they don't stick to doing a specific set of work when it comes to Plexus. Now, I want you to think about how if you were to have a 9-to-5 job, you would go to that 9-to-5 job, like say for instance, Jess is a nurse and she has things that like she's got to get done right before her clock is over. Like she's like, I got to get this and this done. And she does it because she's like, oh, I like, this is what they told me to do. If I don't do it, I'm going to get fired. Right. But I think a lot of times we don't really take Plexus seriously as like a real job. It's kind of like a side gig or like if I feel like it. Right. And then even those that do consider it like a real job, sometimes I still see in people that it's really hard for them to show up consistently. And I've noticed this in myself as well, you guys. Like, I'm not immune to this, right? Like, I've noticed in myself that it's easy to be like, I just don't feel like it, so I'm not going to do it. And so what I want to talk about is setting up a system or a protocol for yourself. And I want you guys to set up what works for you, because what works for me and what works for Jess and what works for Carly might be different, but we can share our tidbits and maybe you can take a little bit from us. But I really want you guys to write down a list of 5 to 10 things that you are going to do every day or like 5 days a week, right? And do it within 1 hour. Because the thing that I've noticed is that if I am like scatterbrained and I don't really know what I'm going to do, or I don't really know who I'm going to reach out to, or, whatever, I kind of think about Plexus all day, but then I don't really get anything done, right? Because when I think about it, I'm like, oh, but I got to go do the laundry. I'm going to go do the laundry. But like, I thought about that. And so it took up a lot of energy and bandwidth in my brain. but then I went and did laundry. I didn't really do it, but I thought about it. And then I do the laundry and then I'm like, oh, I really need to do this. Oh, well, I got to go do the dishes, or now my kids need me, or, oh, I got to go wipe a butt, or give my kids a bath or fold laundry. Like, it's just always like, now I got to run to the store, but we are constantly spinning our wheels, thinking about the things that we need to do or the people that we need to reach out to. And we're overthinking it. And I have someone in particular, I'm not going to share her name, but she is really feeling like Plexus is, just maybe not fitting into her family's lifestyle because it's taking up too much time. And the question I want to ask you is, how much, if you're being really honest with yourself, how much actual time, when you're actually doing the actions and the work, how much actual time are you actually putting in to Plexus each day? I don't mean like scrolling or, I mean like intentional. Cause like if you're sending 5 to 10 messages a day to follow up with people, and you're making a post, and, you're reaching out to a few people, whether it's Plexus related or just to build friendships, and you're asking people to share all of those things. If you're doing those every single day, you could do that every single day in 1 hour. And when you think about the kind of income that we can make, I mean, I know like for me, putting in an hour to 2 hours a day, most people don't make what I make doing that, right? And so it's really not taking up a lot of time. I talked about this a little bit this week in my like Insta stories and stuff, but like when it comes to food, a lot of people will be like, oh, I can't lose weight. I don't know how to lose weight. And I said, it's actually not that you can't lose weight. It's that you can't commit, right? You can't commit to an actual diet or regime, like an actual meal plan, or you're not being using like a system of like, I'm going to stick to this, this, and this. And so something that I've noticed in my life, if I do not plan ahead, I'm way less likely to actually do it. Right. So I need to, when it comes to diet, I relate to diet a lot because every time I had a baby, I had to lose like 40 to 60 pounds because I always gained a lot of weight. Right. And that weight did not just fall off of me. I had to be intentional. But if I did not know what I was going to eat for like the next 4 days in meals, like dinner and, usually my dinner would roll over to be my leftovers for lunch the next day. But if I didn't have dinners and breakfast planned, like I would be eating cookies at breakfast time, and I would be eating snacks and goldfish and peanut butter and jellies and grilled cheeses. And I wasn't really being intentional with my nutrition because I was thinking about it, but I wasn't putting it into a plan. And so this is something that I think is just, it's really, really important. Because what happens is if we don't commit to actually doing simple steps that we're like, yes, boom, I'm going to do these and I'm going to slay them, then what happens is we end up just bouncing around buffering all day, where we're thinking about it. And then maybe when we think about doing it, we kind of maybe sometimes have negative thoughts or emotions or, oh, I don't feel like it. And then we buffer by doing something else that makes us feel like we're actually doing something, like the dishes or the laundry, which I'm not saying that's bad to do, but I'm saying, if it's more like, okay, boom, I do my Plexus here, and then the rest of the time I do this here, and then this is my family time here, that's what I want it to be for people, because I want this to be something that is duplicatable for moms, because who does the business majority of the time? Moms. And what is moms like number one problem or like thought about time is that they don't have a lot of time because they're running after 4 to 6 children all day, So I want it to be duplicatable. And if we're not doing it ourselves, how are we going to teach it? How are we going to be an example of it? How are we going to lead people through it so that they don't have to be running around in their head all day, like a chicken with their head cut off, feeling like they never got anything done. And then by the end of the day, they're like, well, gosh, like, I don't even really trust myself to show up because I can't get anything done. How many times do you guys go to bed at night and you're like, I just don't feel like I got anything done? Do you guys feel like that a lot? Yeah. Like where you're just like, oh my gosh, I don't even know where the day went. Like it just was all over the place. And like, I did all this stuff, but for some reason, I still feel like I didn't get anything done. And I kind of feel like I failed, and I'm kind of disappointed in like my efforts. I feel like that all the time. I feel like I'm failing all the time. So I really want to implement this more on our team, that it's no, like if you're intentional with your time doesn't run you, you run your time, right? And so I asked Carly to share because I don't know. I mean, I know I don't know every detail of what Carly does in her day, but I feel like Carly is really intentional with like taking notes. Like I've seen she has like these, binders, and she has like a name, and she like knows everything that they're taking and all their regimen and all their symptoms and when they've tweaked it. And I love that because that creates so much clarity for Carly. So she's not like, oh my gosh, I don't know what they're doing. Like, I don't remember what they were doing. I'm kind of stressed now. Like, I don't know how to reach out to them or check in with them. And I know Jess does this too. And a lot of people do, but I asked Carly to share because I feel like this is something Carly's really good at, and she's really good at being intentional with her kids. So I'd love Carly to share a little bit about what you do and how you're intentional, what systems that you use, or just whatever you want to talk about, really. So go ahead.
Well, first of all, that is super, super sweet of you, Nicole. I really appreciate that. So when I did first start Plexus, I did a lot of what Nicole was saying we sometimes get sucked into and shouldn't do, which is, it was just always on my mind. And I had a hard time like separating things. And so to me, I thought, I can't really do this because like most of us, I'm mom first. That's my job. I'm mom first. And I don't want to be with my kids thinking about Plexus. And it was hard to separate the two for me. Most of us have never done this before. So it's really something I've had to think about probably the last year. I've been sharing for about 2 years, and the last, I would say even maybe, probably like a year to 9 months or so. I have really tried to time block and tried to make sure that I am intentional with each separate part of my life. And I think that's super important because I was getting a little burnt out where I just felt like I really want to be a Plexus. Like I love it. I want to help my people, but like, I can't get it out of my mind. I'm just like trying to do, like Nicole said, same thing. You go home, you go to bed and I'm like, what did I do today? Like, holy cow, what have I done? So, time blocking is super important. So something for me, I do is set my time. I know that my kids are in school and my son naps from 12:30 to like 2:30 when my kids get home from school. That 2-hour block is my time. And one thing that's really important is having a purpose and a plan. Christy talks about that a lot. And if I sit down and I'm like, oh, I'll do Plexus now, then it's the same thing. I'm kind of just like running around and you're just in parts of, it's like chores. If you run from room to room, you're just doing like little things here and there. It's the same thing with Plexus. Like if I was just like, oh, I was just all over the place, then it would make me even more frustrated. So I really have a plan where like, I have systems in place. Like Nicole said, I have my planner, and each like Monday, I'll go through the week and tell people that their subscriptions are coming up. Like each Tuesday, I'll make sure my retention video. Each time I sit down, I know exactly what I'm doing. And I do pull out my binder. I have to be really organized. And in order for me to not think about people and their situations all day, I do write notes. I have my little half sheets where I put what they're taking, their regimen, and on the back I put what their ailments are, and then I'll put what things they have found like results so far, so that if I need to talk to them, I need to text them, I can just flip over to their page and it's right there. So I don't have to have it running through my mind all the time, or like if something does come on my mind, then I can just run quickly and like write it down my notes and then be like, okay, during my block, I'll do that kind of a thing. That has really helped. And it has to be that way because all of us are moms and it's hard to separate, and you just have to find your best way to have a purpose when you sit down. Another thing I like to do is I like to have a set, each day I post certain things. That really helps. It takes the guesswork out of everything. I know Mondays are just random Plexus things. Tuesdays are testimonials. Wednesdays are mine. Thursdays are throwbacks. Fridays are fun Plexus facts, because then the next thing I do is I make sure I have my post prepared for the next day. And so it just will take seconds to post it in the morning. And that also helps me kind of like put my time together. It just takes the guesswork out of it. It just makes it so much easier. And I only like to check my messages and conversations with people when I know I have time for a conversation with them. That's been huge too, because if I find that I'm like, have a moment, like I'm just kind of sitting, hanging out with my kids, but not really doing anything, and I check my phone and there's somebody who I'm responding to, I'm like, oh, I'll respond to them. And then I like try and put my phone down, but I'm like, oh, but they're texting back. So then I'll text back. And it kind of gets in that mode again, where you kind of, aren't as intentional with the things you want to be intentional with. So I really try hard to think, do I have time to sit and have a conversation? Or like, if it's a reply back and forth, do I have time for this? And usually I will do that. I'll send my retention videos. I'll follow up with people during that time, because then I can message back and forth and have that good dialogue with them. So that's been really critical too, because messages are the same way. Like, make sure I have time to respond. I won't open a message unless I know I can respond to it, so I don't forget that it's there. So those are some things that I do. I really like, Christy she has a whole sheet of purposeful things you can do. And I think Melissa does it. And it just will give you like a list. You'll do follow-ups, or it's right here. You'll do new asks, or you'll do plugins to people, like invite to groups. Just having a plan and a purpose each time you sit down is really important. And then you can feel so much more accomplished. That's what I like about it too, is I am a list person. Like, I just have a to-do list, and I like to be able to cross things off. And when I do that, then I feel and can visibly see, this is what I did today. Like, I feel more accomplished. I'm not getting burnt out, because I know I sat down and I did this, and this is what I did, and I feel good, and I can move on to the next thing. And I think one thing that's really important, and that I have, Jessica says this, is she says that, I've got to make sure I get it right, Jess. You say something like, nothing in Plexus is an emergency. Like, we don't want people to feel like they have to react and respond. You don't have to do that. And that's really important, because you will get burnt out. And there are some days where I just go into my phone settings and I turn off the notifications on Messenger, because I just know that if I see my little notification, I'm OCD, I have to like check it. And so I'll just have those certain days where I'm like, today I really have to do this, and I can't have that in the back of my mind. So I'll just turn off my notifications that day. And next day I'll turn them back on, so that I know what I'm responding, and I'm still active with people. Because that's also something that I feel like has been really important in Plexus, is like, I'm mom first, like all of us are, but I also want to take care of my people. I don't want to let them down. And so I don't want to just drop the ball. Like, I have to intentionally be there when I'm there with them. And that also makes me feel better, that I can take time apart and know that I'm going to come back and be, committed, and be in these conversations, and really know people, and put forth my effort. So the messaging thing, turning off notifications on those days has been critical too. That's been really helpful to separate. And then the last thing that I just feel like is super important is you do have to make time for it. You put in what you get out what you put in. And I discovered that when I first started, because I'm going to use Melissa as an example. I hope you don't mind, Melissa, but Melissa and I started about the same time, and Melissa just like flew. Like, she was always posting, and she was always like enrolling. And I just was like, what am I doing wrong? But I knew what I was doing wrong. I wasn't putting in the time. Like, I can't expect to work half the time as somebody else and get the same results. And so that was something that I do try and make sure, like, I'm huge on posting on social media. Like, I say that all the time, and people will say, I'm not getting enrollments. Well, you're not posting. Like, you have to be out there. You have to be doing those things. And so, yeah, Melissa was a good example to me of that, of just making sure that I'm putting in the effort, and then it will come out. And maybe it won't come out exactly what I want, but I know that I'm filling my funnel, and I knew I'm doing those things, and just never to stop. You can pivot, you can, change what your direction, but don't stop, because that will also kind of make it so you're just stuck. It's good to just, if you need to switch things around, spend less time here, more time there, change your routine, that's good. But just making sure that time blocking is really important in your life, so you don't get burnt out, and you don't feel like stopping, and then you don't let the people down who need you to show up. So that's kind of just some things that I was thinking.
Oh my gosh, I love that. Well, and that's such a good example of like, you can be intentional and work just even 30 minutes to an hour a day. And if you're going for a big goal, maybe 2 hours a day, right? I know Emerald was a pretty big push. I was working a lot more than that the month that I went Emerald, but that is like, because I was purposely going for a big goal, like if you set a goal and you go hard for it, you could be working, 1 to 2 hours a day and be moving forward. And really, it's just doing those little things every day that compound over time to create a really thriving business. I'm putting pants on right now while I'm talking to you guys. And can you hear my baby screaming in the background? But yeah, it doesn't have to be complicated, you guys. We overcomplicate it because we're humans and we have emotions, and we overcomplicate it with our emotions. But if we were able to just set aside all those negative, can you shut the door, please? Hold on. Sorry, I can't think very well when I hear a baby screaming, "Mama," and the door's like wide open. I'm like, I gotta shut the door. My husband's here, he's helping him. But yeah, so I mean, if we really could set aside those negative emotions, and I'm not telling you to do that because you're human and you're gonna have emotions, right? But if you could set those aside and just do the same actions every single day, you would yield a bigger harvest, right? And I think a lot of times it's that you're just, I'm not blaming anyone or pointing a finger at anyone, but we all do it. We're human, a lot of times we buffer by doing other things, and we're thinking about something, but we're not actually just doing this daily small IPA, those small actions that actually produce the result that you want. And so, yeah, I mean, I just wanted to, clarify that with people, because I want to help moms have financial freedom. Like, that is a huge goal of mine. Some people are here that maybe don't need the money, and they do it more because they want to help people. That's great too. But helping people also includes helping those that really struggle financially, right? And so I know that I can be a better leader if I'm doing the simple things and showing people how simple it is to actually run a thriving business. And that's my goal. That's my goal, is to make it as simple as possible and as duplicatable as possible, and to make it a simple system. And so, like when Carly said, Christy already made this sheet and it's so simple and you can check it off, and doesn't it feel so good just to like check it off and you're like, look, I did like 5 to 10 things and it just feels so good, and I did it, and I showed up for myself and I showed up for others, and it just feels good, and I did it. And you're like, boom, I checked it off for the day. Like, that will give you so much gratification in yourself that you showed up for you, and you showed up for others, and you showed up for your business consistently. And so that's what I challenge you guys to print out that sheet and use it. It's already done for you. It takes the guesswork of, what should I do today? I don't know what to do. Am I doing the right thing? You know what I mean? It's like, oh, boom, boom, boom. I'm not going to overthink it. I'm just going to do these things. So I challenge you to do that. And I challenge you to do reels. So Jess, I don't know if you look so tired, babe. I kind of just told Jess to not get on, but she's here anyways because she can't help it. She has FOMO. But if you want to add anything, you're more than welcome to chime in at any time. I wanted to say, I wanted to talk a little bit about Emerald Extravaganza. You guys, oh, I just got like a little emotional. We are leaving on Tuesday, and Jess just got her baby passport. She spent more time flying and waiting in the airport than she actually did in the passport center to get the passport. Like, it took her like an hour. She was so stressed about it, and it was so quick, but she did it like a couple days after her DNC. Jess, you are such a trooper. But yeah, so we're going, me and Jess and our hubbies, we're going to Emerald Extravaganza on Tuesday. And I get a little emotional thinking about it, because 2.5 years ago when I started, like, I was like, oh, I don't get to go on vacations with my husband. And I know that there's people here that feel that way. I know for some, it's because they have a child they can't leave, and that's challenging too. But bonding with your husband, your significant other, is so important. It's such an important part of marriage. And 2.5 years ago, like, I hadn't really got to do that a lot, and that caused a lot of stress in my marriage. And I can't even tell you how grateful I am for like this experience. And I really want you all to know that you are capable of Emerald. It's not as far away as you think in your mind. Like, we look to the past for what we think is possible for the future, right? It's like, well, it took me 2 years and I'm still senior gold, so it's going to take me another 4 years just to get, you know what I mean? Like, we look to the past for what we think we're capable of and what's possible. But I want you to know that you built that groundwork. You learned so much in the beginning, and you know all the things that you need to do to grow and to move forward and to bless countless lives out there. And I want you guys, if it's a goal of yours, to draw your line in the sand and decide that you will be there with me and Jess next year. And you can bring a child with you. You can bring your family with you and pay for their ticket. So for those that don't maybe get to leave their child, you can bring your child. But I hope you guys know that we'll be thinking about you when we are in Mexico. And I have some really fun things that I'm going to be posting about. Then starting probably Sunday night, I'll do the first post. I know a lot of us I don't work on Sunday, but maybe I'll just do it Sunday night before bed so you guys can see it, and then we'll start Monday. But I hope you guys will follow along with it and know that we're thinking about you when we are in Mexico, and that we are so grateful that you are here spreading this beautiful work with us. So grateful for you. Does anybody have anything that they want to add or chime in with?
I'll add a few things, and it kind of is about what you were talking about earlier. And like when Carly started talking, like I thought about this a lot. Like, how often do we dread to do laundry? Like, I think about, I hate laundry so bad. I dread it. I end up letting like a load sit in the washer like 6 times. And I hope that all of you guys can relate to that, because if you're really good at laundry, then you can't relate with me. But like, in my mind, I'll be like, oh my gosh, I got to go change that load. And then I get distracted with something by a child or a spouse or a newborn, or like my own distraction, or the doorbell rings. And then that load of laundry just like leaves my head. And then like 4 hours later, I'm like, oh, I have a load sitting in the washer. And I get up there and I open up the door and it stinks because it's been sitting there for 6 hours. And so rather than fixing it and switching it to the dryer, I just like restart it. And I probably do that like 10 times. And usually my husband's the one that catches it before I do. And I've tried to like shift my mindset to like, I love doing the laundry. It's so fun. And if you shift your mindset to, the reason why I love to do laundry is because it provides me to have clean clothes. It provides my kids to have clean clothes, because how often do you go into your closet and you want to wear that one shirt because you never get to go out with your husband, and you get to go out with your husband that night and you want to wear that one shirt, and you did the laundry, so that one shirt that you were looking for is clean. And it's that gratification of, oh my heck, I have a clean shirt on, or my kids have clean clothes, and I don't have to like go through all of their drawers to find clean jeans or clean shorts or a clean shirt or clean underwear for my kids. Like, I've had to shift my mindset to, yes, I hate laundry, but the outcome is so it's so, I find more gratitude in it because I have clean clothes. And I got to a point with my Plexus business, I wasn't even like senior gold. I hated doing follow-ups. I hated it. I told Nicole and Katie this often. I felt like I was babysitting people. I hated pulling out my phone. I hated the thought of having to work. I hated it. And I had to step back because I was burning myself out. Kind of like what Carly was saying. Like, if you don't have time blocks and boundaries and you don't react, you learn to hate it. And I had to switch my mindset to, but what comes of it if I can invest 1 hour and remind myself, if I just invest that 1 hour, what comes of it? And the more I shifted my mindset to, I am not babysitting these people, I'm not just changing the laundry, I'm giving these people clean clothes to wear. Like, that's how I've had to like shift my mindset to, these people are going to get results because I'm checking in. If I don't check in and I don't show that I care about them and I don't care about their results, like I 100% care about everybody I start products on. even if it's scary to me to reach out to them, even if they're not seeing the results fast enough, even if they're going through detox, like, let's be honest, when we get that message that comes back to us, that's like, I'm not doing well, I'm having diarrhea, this is the worst, this isn't working for me, I've gained weight. Like, it's that load of laundry that's been sitting there. And I'm like, ugh, like my husband will like, he'll say that I'll do that sometimes. I get a text back and I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Like, come on, Karen, like, you're fine. But I've gotten to a point where I'm like, okay, but Karen needs me to rewash that laundry. She needs me to show up for her, and she needs me to put her in the dryer, because she's not going to have those clean clothes if I'm not the one to follow up with that and to repetitively follow up with that. They need clean clothes every day. They need clean clothes every week. That same shirt's going to get dirty every time Aspen wears it, because she gets more food on her shirt than she does her mouth. And I've had to learn that my mindset now has shifted to, I'm not babysitting. I follow up under my rules and my time clock. We have full control over that, you guys. It's not a nursing job, 8 to 5, where I have to get these tasks done by 5 before the next nurse comes on shift to take over. I am my own boss. I'm my own coworker. I'm my own employee, and I control all of that. So rather than hating what you do or burning yourself out, set your boundaries, set your 4 walls around you, set your time clock, set your lunch hours, and be intentional with it, because that's what's going to make you love your business, is when you love what you do. And for a while, I hated doing follow-ups. I still hate doing follow-ups, but I have to remember that what is the outcome of this person? If Nicole and Katie never showed up for me, I would have never gotten the life-changing results I did 4 to 5 months in. And I probably wanted Nicole probably wanted to pull her hair out every time I wrote back to her, because I was a negative Nancy. I was like, nope, I'm not seeing results. I'm not pooping yet. Like, I was ornery, and she kept on showing up. She kept on changing the laundry with me, and the outcome has been so great. And I wear clean clothes every day because I feel so good, and I'm showing up for my family. So just remember that, like, if you're struggling with showing up for your people and you're getting the negative response from the negative Nancy's, guys, there's going to be negative Nancy's. But 5 months in, that negative Nancy might change your business. They might change your life, and it's going to change theirs. So that's kind of like what I wanted to say as well. And I get emotional thinking about the Emerald trip as well, because I never thought in a million years I would have a business. And I never thought in a million years I'd be going to Mexico in 5 days with my newborn and my husband. And I'm so grateful because I get to experience this and think about next year when all of you are going to be there with me with no newborn. But I'm so excited, and I love you guys all individually, and that's why I'm here. Yes, I'm exhausted and I could go to sleep right now, but I show up because every single person on this call means so much to me. And I'm so grateful to be doing this with you, because it has changed my life, and not just products. This is a business and a community that I absolutely have fallen in love with. So I love you all. Sorry, Cole. That took me forever.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. I know that we all genuinely want to help others. Like, every single one of you, I've heard it come out of your mouth, like, I just want to help people, right? Like, we all love to help people. We want to help people feel better. We want to bring more joy to people's life. We want to bring the community. But when we shy away from doing the follow-up and the posting and the things that kind of feel hard, even though they're really not hard, if you think about it, they're really not, right? But we tend to make them hard in our minds. But when we shy away from those things, we're not helping anyone, right? We're just buffering. So I challenge you guys to show up and do the boring work, is what I call it. And I want to get a shirt actually that says do the boring work, because the boring work is that will give you the life that you dream of. It'll give you the body you dream of. It'll give you the life that you dream of, the finances, the relationships with your children and your husband and your friends. It's the boring work. It's the little things every single day that seem so mundane and annoying, like folding the laundry and changing it out on time. It's the little things that you don't want to do, right? And so I want to get a shirt that says do the boring work, because everybody wants to do the fun, right? Like, that's great. I want that, but I don't really want to work for it. But just do it, and do it like in an hour. Boom, 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 every day. And you're like, whew, I'm done. And I showed up and it feels so good. And now I can go be intentional with my family. Right. So anyways, that's pretty much all I had to share. But I do challenge you guys to go print out that sheet Christy made and use it as a check off so that you don't have to think about it. So you don't have to be like, what do I do in my hour? Just use that. And I know she said before, you don't even have to do everything on it. Just do what you can do. Do 5 things, do 7 things, like whatever you can do, right? You don't have to do all of it every day. Just do some of it every day. So do that. And I challenge you guys to do like 3 reels in the next week. 3 reels. Okay.
And I want to add too, because I think, oh, Jess, you're not going to be in Bear Lake, huh? Somehow we're going to sneak you there. We're going to come kidnap you. I don't think Kimberly will care that I'm sharing this, but she is going to do some training in Bear Lake on how to do a reel. So the more I learn, and I know Carly might not be there. Carly, you're not going either, huh? So we will FaceTime you guys in because I would love for you guys to learn as well. Because I'm learning along with social media. It's something I just don't know how to do. So we'll
Yeah, that
FaceTime
would
you
be
guys in.
great.
All right.
Sorry,
well,
I can't leave my little one ever. Sorry.
That's okay.
you could always
I
be
get
there.
it.
She could be our little Plexus baby and just like sit on laps, and she'd probably have
Oh, she's nuts. She doesn't sit still for 2 seconds. I get to go to preschool with her too. And I have like, next time I'm gonna wear my workout clothes because I'm sweating from all of the burpees trying to chase after her and sprints and stuff. So she's a little nuts. But I'd be happy to be FaceTimed in to anything like that. That'd be great.
I'll totally FaceTime you and Carly in.
Awesome. We'll miss you guys. You guys are such good mamas. I am so proud of you. Sometimes, just being there for your little kids that struggle with health things, it's a lot. Like, you love them, but it's a lot, and you're doing such a beautiful work. I'm so proud of you guys. So love you guys. I hope you have a good night. We're going to end a little early, but I'm excited to see you guys in a few weeks, and stay active in our threads. And you guys are the ones that show up consistently. You guys are the ones I see as leaders because you show up consistently. So show up in the threads and know that that is such a shining light for people that are struggling right now in their business or in their life or in their health. So love you guys. I hope you have a great night. We'll talk to you soon.